Colorado may have a new rivalry with Nebraska, and it has nothing to do with football. It's arguably more important: water. Jefferson County unveils a new emergency notification system, and if it's anything like the last one, you're probably not signed up, so we'll get you signed up. A candidate for Congress loses in court, which means you'll only see his given name on the ballot, not the name he wanted you to see. When the Colorado Rockies subbed in to host the All-Star Game, they helped dedicate a new high school softball and baseball field.
We can practice on it, we can't play on it because it's a hazard.
So why hasn't a single game been played there since? We head to southeastern Colorado, where we hope your generosity can help residents with some of the most basic needs. And my hometown has a law old enough that has kept me from legally having ice cream from a truck. If you're like, wait a minute, I've had ice cream from trucks in Aurora, I want to hear from you. Next. It's not quite Buffalo versus Cornhusker rivalry. Nebraska, though, feels threatened by Colorado for our use of water. So threatened that Nebraska plans to build a $500 million canal to make sure Colorado keeps its word to give our neighboring state water from the South Platte River. Water we're legally required to give, and water we haven't threatened to keep. Katie Eastman explains this power move.
For nearly a century, some of the water in Colorado's South Platte River has been diverted to Nebraska. 120 cubic feet per second to be exact, in the spring and summer.
And if we're not delivering that much, then we need to curtail water rights in this lower end of the river. That's what we've been doing for many, many years.
And state engineer Kevin Ryan says they've never given Nebraska a reason to doubt them.
Okay, now we are official.
But Nebraska's Republican Governor Pete Rickett says Colorado's list of South Platte River projects, ones that may or may not happen, are enough to feel threatened. Enough that they are going to act on another section of the century-old compact signed with Colorado.
This is not about getting more water for the state of Nebraska. This is merely about making sure we can actually have legal title or legal claim to the water that we are already getting.
Nebraska plans to spend $500 million to construct a canal in Colorado to divert water from the South Platte in the winter to.
Article 6 of the compact allows them to do that, but whether it's feasible or not, or whether it's a good idea, that's a whole different story.
Jim Yan, the manager of the North Sterling and Pruitt reservoirs, says there might not even be enough water for them to take in the winter. But Colorado officials really don't know what's possible because they haven't seen Nebraska's plan. Ryan says Nebraska has asked him how Colorado would administer water rights, but he can't answer those questions without knowing how they would construct and operate the canal.
We find that we would probably be able to be more helpful in responding to their questions if we had more information, but we just don't have that information right now.
In a statement from the Colorado governor's office, spokesperson Connor Cahill wrote they have yet to see a meaningful proposal from Nebraska.
The Nebraskans are our neighbors. It's not like they're some group out there that's just coming after water. It's neighbors and friends of ours in this area, so we know them. And we want them to spend their money as wisely as they can as well.
For Next, I'm Katie Eastman.
In an email, we asked a spokesperson from the Nebraska governor's office about communication between states and the feasibility of the project. We haven't heard back. The cost of the project would be entirely on Nebraska taxpayers. Yay! So far, they've allocated $53.5 million. Jefferson County, Broomfield, and Westminster are opting in on a new emergency alert system. The new system is called Lookout Alert. It replaces Code Red. Residents who already signed up for Code Red alerts are automatically moved to the new system. Now, let's say you don't live in any of those places, but you're driving through and there's a wildfire that you need to know about. You might get an alert if you're in the area.
The types of alerts that will be used in an emergency situation will be determined by the on-scene authority. So if there's a situation that they want 100% saturation based on a geographic location, the wireless emergency alert, or WEA, can be launched from the Lookout Alert system and will be utilized in that situation.
WEA does not require you to be opted in because it's based on cell towers. The new system, Lookout Alert, that's named after Lookout Mountain, which the Ute tribe used as a lookout point for any trouble that was headed their way. If you live in Jefferson County, Broomfield, or Westminster and need to sign up, we've posted a link in this story on 9news.com. Denver was the first to let you know about your vote and being able to track it from the time it was sent to you as a voter to when it was counted. The other 63 counties in the state now do that too, but all use a different system. Denver will join them, at least for 1 year, as part of a pilot program. Ballot Trace to Ballot Tracks. Ballot Tracks is the system used everywhere else in Colorado. Denver voters who had signed up for the previous system received texts earlier this week. 17,000 voters got a text about the change, and it is not spam.
Due to the current environment, a text message shows up talking about something that affects your ballot. So we just wanted to make sure that people understood that A, was legitimate, and B, coming from a trusted source of election information.
For the voters who got that text, like me, you need to either click on the link or go to the Denver Elections website to sign up with the new system to continue to track your ballot. It tracks when it gets sent to you, when it's received after you turn it back in, and when it's accepted to be counted. Another 250,000 voters in Denver received an email about this because they have an email attached to their voter record. Those voters do not need to do anything additional to sign up. Your record transferred to the new system. A Colorado Republican running for Congress will not be able to use his anti-President Biden nickname on the ballot this summer. State Representative Dave Williams is one of 3 Republicans trying to unseat 8-term Congressman Doug Lamborn, who represents El Paso County. Williams filed a lawsuit to get his name printed on the June 28th primary ballot as Dave, Let's Go Brandon Williams. The phrase is the wink, wink, nod, nod way to say F Joe Biden. Colorado law allows candidates to use a nickname on the ballot if they regularly use it, and it does not include any part of a political party's name. A Denver district judge today gave Williams a personal victory while still not allowing him to use the name on the ballot. The judge ruled that Williams proved proper use of Let's Go Brandon as a nickname, but then also ruled that Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State Jenna Griswold used proper authority to disallow it from being used on the ballot. Williams told me he's appealing to the Colorado Supreme Court. Denver got a lot of attention when Major League Baseball moved the All-Star game from Atlanta last year. Now that the spotlight has faded, some of the scars are showing. Kennedy High School benefited from a new softball and baseball field, both funded by MLB and the Colorado Rockies through the All-Star Legacy Initiative. The legacy is that the field has hosted as many home games today as it did before the repairs. None. If this is a field of dreams, it's because you have to dream to play on it.
You could tell right away, when you stepped on it, it was not right from what a normal field should.
Hunter Coble is a senior pitcher, first baseman, and right fielder for the Kennedy High School Commanders.
I've been on varsity for 3 years.
And how many home games have you played in?
0.
No home games, despite improvements to both the baseball and softball fields, paid for by Major League Baseball and the Colorado Rockies.
I'm extremely excited to welcome all of you to the unveiling ceremony.
The improvements were unveiled during last July's All-Star festivities, when MLB's All-Star game was quickly moved from Atlanta to Denver.
We have not played a game here since the dedication. We've had practices on the field, but not game activity.
Denver Public Schools spokesman Scott Pribble told me there are drainage issues at home plate, some areas of the field with 2 layers of sod, and sod covering sprinkler heads.
With the switch from Atlanta to Denver, it kind of hurried things along a little bit in the process, and the field was completed, but it was completed probably a little bit faster than it needed to be.
The baseball field is definitely an upgrade from what Kennedy used to have. Home games were not allowed for safety when the field looked like this. Home games are still not allowed for safety now that the field looks like this.
Bids that we've received so far are in the area of $130,000 to $150,000 to do both fields.
Pribble tells me DPS will pay for the fixes, repairs that will be too late for Hunter, who currently plays home games away from home.
Especially for home games, you want to be out on your own field. You don't want to be traveling a lot, usually during home games. This is a nice field, but you want to be at your home to play games.
I think it's important for everybody to know that the safety of our athletes is very important, and that's why we haven't been playing games here.
Denver Public Schools will pay for the repairs to get the softball field done in time for the fall. Then it will explore possible insurance or reimbursement from the contractor. I reached out to the Rockies about what happened. Haven't heard back yet, but my next question to the Rockies would be to see if they'd host a Kennedy High School home game at Coors Field. Roughly 1 in 5 people living in Bent County need a stopgap, whether that be help keeping the lights on, help putting food on the table, or paying for prescriptions. This week, we can help an organization that provides those services. I'll let Kyle take it from here.
Your 99 Word of Thanks campaigns. forgive my voice, have helped in nearly every corner of Colorado, but this week I would love for us to go someplace new. Your Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports Los Animas Helping Hands in Bent County. That all-volunteer nonprofit estimates it's helping 1 in 5 people in a county that has been set by drought, by loss of jobs, by rising energy and healthcare costs, help with food, help with utility assistance, help with affording prescription drugs. Because they're an all-volunteer nonprofit in a rural area, they're confident that they can stretch the dollars from our Word of Thanks micro-giving gifts into 2 or 3 years worth of assistance for people in that county. You know, the woman who runs that nonprofit was telling me the story about a woman who reached out to ask if Helping Hands might help her in purchasing a $20 auto part from the junkyard. She said that her car wasn't working, her son was willing to put in the part, he had the expertise, but neither of them had the money. $20. That's the kind of work that Los Animas Helping Hands has been doing for more than a decade in Bent County and will do for years to come with our assistance. Text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 or scan the QR code on your screen. I'll send you the link to give. As always, I'll match the first 50 people in the door with $5 to get us rolling. Our money can go a long way into helping folks in southeastern Colorado. Appreciate your help in doing it together.
The KKK burned it down 3 times, not a 4th. Anything that elicits that kind of hate from white supremacists definitely has a story worth sharing. And would you like some red tape with your red, white, and blue popsicle? Why, this kid from Aurora has no idea what kind of ice cream you can get from a truck. Next.
A mix of clouds and sunshine today with temperatures 10 degrees above average, 73 in Denver, but some 80s on the map in southern Colorado. An upper air disturbance crossing Colorado from the southwest has set off a line of, well, weak rain showers, believe it or not, and some gusty winds around these isolated thunderstorms. And due to the wind, we're concerned for high fire danger tomorrow, so we'll take every drop that we can get from these showers as they push quickly into Nebraska and Kansas. We do have those storms in early and then a mostly clear night. We get some sunshine to start tomorrow. And then what will be the warmest day of the week, we'll see those winds increase. Red flag warnings posted for high fire danger as highs soar close to 80 degrees. Cooler and windy Friday with an isolated thunderstorm possible.
What do bomb pops and strawberry shortcake bars have to do with Aurora? I'm seriously asking because I don't know what they are, because I'm from Aurora. I was today years old when I learned ice cream trucks are technically illegal in Aurora. Municipal code says you can't sell frozen dairy products, candy, or gum from a vehicle on the street in Aurora. On top of that, you can't use bells, whistles, sirens, music, horns, or any other noise-making device to attract people to your car. So Aurora residents are not allowed to hear "Turkey in the Straw," which is apparently the name of the jingle. It appears these rules went into effect in 1979. City Council member Dustin Zvonek has made it his mission to free the ice cream truck. He created a committee to look into some of the more silly city rules and regulations that might not be missed if they were gone. His staff found that rolling delicious frozen dairy distribution points are not allowed.
There have been processes in place that weren't around and then have just kind of gradually over time in the past 10 to 15 years made their way. And some of them aren't in city code. They're just practices, within the city. But again, what they've done is they've stifled businesses. They've slowed down the process of doing business in the city. And our hope with this committee is to create an Aurora that will be recognized as the most business-friendly city in the state. And that, of course, includes for those who want to have ice cream trucks and have that familiar tune of ice cream trucks going through our neighborhood again.
Zvonek wants to get ice cream trucks legal by the 4th of July. We know not everyone follows the rules, and this sounds like one that maybe isn't known or strictly enforced. So if you're an Aurora resident, we'd love to hear from you if you've had ice cream from an ice cream truck in the city. We've got a post up on the next Facebook page, so head there and let me know where I missed out. Neighbors trying to get historic status for their little slice of Denver start their effort with one house.
The house has stories that you don't really know.
Well then, let's hear some of them next. Many of Denver's homes are full of stories. One home in the Whittier neighborhood is at the heart of an effort to create a new historic district to help preserve some of those stories, as seen through the lens of photojournalist Mike Grady.
It's wonderful to be able to walk down the street and say, hey, do you know that guy that used to live in that house? He was really famous. Let me tell you about them. George Morrison was a community person. He was a classical musician first. He lived on 25th and Gilpin. 3 times the Ku Klux Klan ruined the foundation of the house, and so he had to keep trying, and the 4th time he got to get it up.
The house has stories that you don't really know. When we got retired, it was like, well, if we're going to do anything and make a historic district, now's the time to start that process. If you're going to do a historic district, you really should understand what's been happening.
Black musicians were not welcome to stay in hotels downtown, so they would often stay at the George Morrison house. And Duke Ellington went to the basement one evening, and he was notorious for staying up all night and working at the piano composing. Things went on, and the next morning, Duke Ellington came upstairs and played Sophisticated Lady for them. I mean, that's kind of an amazing story. And even though the house is modest, really important things and significant things went on there, and it would be wonderful to preserve that.
To actually see the reality of what this gentleman and his family created in the community is very significant.
Historic Denver tells us the current proposal will designate Gilpin Street between 25th and 26th as an historic district. They say the current owner of the home is on board with the plan so far. The Goebels tell us there is not currently a full-time resident living there. Helping rural Coloradans with essential services when they can't pay the bills themselves. Your Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign, and where you can get ice cream from a truck in Aurora next.
The nonprofit Los Animas Helping Hands is one place in southeastern Colorado where our neighbors in need can go for whatever assistance they require, whether that's food to get them by, whether that's help paying an energy bill, whether that's help with utility assistance. But the all-volunteer nonprofit also provides budgeting counseling for folks to help them on the path towards self-sufficiency. It's been a tough few years down there with the drought, the loss of some employers, with rising healthcare and energy costs. We can help through this week's Word of Thanks campaign. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to join me in giving. Los Animas Helping Hands, all volunteer, highly local in southeastern Colorado, plans to stretch our dollars over a few years of assistance to our neighbors in need down there.
So where have people unknowingly been selling ice cream illegally from a truck in Aurora? Kelly writes in that the ice cream truck used to come through her old neighborhood in Aurora. Didn't tell us where, though. Brad tells us he sees ice cream trucks and carts regularly in Hoffman Heights, the only time that they would go running, perhaps, in that area. My grandparents had a place in Hoffman Heights. Tom said back in the day we didn't get ice cream trucks, perhaps because Aurora was in the sticks. That's probably where you need ice cream the most, when you're out in the middle of nowhere, but Aurora is not the middle of nowhere anymore. Keep the feedback coming. Perhaps there'll be a future follow-up on another next.